Hello my fashion lovers, welcome to today's tutorial. Please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, put on the notification bell to get my videos anytime I post a new video. Today we'll be looking at how to today we'll be looking at how to cut and sew a wrap gown or a wrap gown, pencil skirt gown. We're looking at how to sew it. To begin, to sew the wrap gown, the length I'm working with for the gown is 59. I'm going to take away 17, that is the half length. I'm going to deduct the half length from the full length. And the half length I'm working with is 17, and the full length of the gown is 59. So I'm going to deduct 17 from 59. It will give me 42. 42 for the down part, then length 17 for the upper part. The measurement I'm working with is 17 plus 2 inches sewing allowance, making it 19. I'll mark it out. This is going to be my starting point. This is going to be my starting point. From my shoulder to my bust is 11 inches. Shoulder to under bust is 14 inches. And shoulder to waist is 17 inches plus 2 inches sewing allowance. Let me mark it out. Mark the shoulder. The shoulder measurement I'm working with is 15. When you divide it by 2 to give you 7.5, I'll repeat it here. Then take my 1 inch shoulder slope and take my armhole. Armhole I'll be making use of is 8.5. And this becomes my chest line, my bust line, my under bust, and my waistline. For the neck parts, I'll be making use of a boat neck, so I'll be taking 5 inches. 5 inches by 2.5, 3 inches, but I'm going to use the half inch to join. And I will connect. After cutting on this paper, I will cut on my fabric, because my fabric is, if I'm marking on the fabric, you won't see what I'm marking. So that's why I'm marking it here. I'll transfer to my fabric. The shoulder slope, the neckline. The bust measurement I'm working with, the bust measurements, the nipple to nipple measurement I'm working with is 7.5 plus 1 inch sewing allowance to make it 8. If I divide it by 2, it will give me 4 inches. So I'll take it down. To avoid my bust points being pointy at the nipple point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, come down by 1 inch and go up by 1 inch. I'll come down by 1 inch and go down by 1 inch. For my bust, for my darts, I'll be taking 1.5 inches here because I'm working with a small bust. 1.5 inches. I will take 1 inches here. 1 inches. I will take 1.5. Depending on the size of the bust you're working with. From where I came down to the bust point, I'll connect. I will connect again on this side. This place has to be curved, please. Then I will come down up the straight. Then I will find the middle of my armhole. I'll find the middle of my armhole. Find the middle of your armhole. And I will come in to avoid folds on the armpit. I will come in by 1/2 inch. I'll come in by 1/2 inch to avoid folds on the arm area. To connect to my bust, I have to get my bust circumference. The bust circumference I'm working with is 39. When I divide it by 4, I will have 9¾ from here. I will connect to this 1/2 inch I came in with, and from here I'll connect to the top parts. And I'm going to connect to this point. I'm going to connect it to this point. From this point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. From this point, I'll come down by 1 inch. And I'll go up by 1 inch. And I will connect. I'll connect this side as well. Make sure you blend this middle parts. Make sure you blend it. Let it not be straight so that you have that curved edge. Make sure you blend it to have that curved edge. For this part, I came down from here. I came down by 1 inch and went up by 1 inch. That is, I deducted 2 inches here. I'm still going to add it back. I'll add it back here, but I will add 1/2 inch to it. I'll add 1/2 inch to it. It's better to have excess. I'll add 1/2 inch to it. All right, to take our body measurements, the bust measurement I'm working with is 39 divided by 4 will give you 9¾ 9¾ is here, and I will take 2 inches sewing allowance. Depending on how many inches sewing allowance you want to take, I will take 2. And I'll also take 2 for my darts. Let me take 3 for my darts. And the underbust I'm working with is 34. When I divide it by 4, it will give me 8 1/4. 8 1/4. I'm going to this 1.5 and 1 that I took out from this side, that is 2.5. I will impute it here. 2.5 plus 2 inches sewing allowance. The same thing with the waist. The waist circumference I'm working with is 35. When you divide it by 4, it will give you 8.5. I will impute it here. The 2.5 that I'm going to remove from here, I will add it here, plus 2 inches sewing allowance. That will connect. For this part, I'm going to join it, my armhole. See what I have here. So with this, I'm going to cut it on my fabric. I'll cut it on the fabric. Let me cut it. Now we are going to cut. If you're cutting here, make sure your hand is cold. Before I cut it off, I want to check where my padding is going to start. I want to check where my padding will start. My padding is going to start 6 inches. For my padding is going to start where this place stops. That is where my padding will start, 6 inches. I'll cut it on the fabric so that you see what we have. I'll cut it on the fabric, see what we have here. For the back part, I will still be working with length 17 plus 2 inches sewing allowance. And I'm going to take my zip allowance of 1 inch. You can make use of 2, you can make use of 3, depending on what you want. But for me, I'm making use of only 1 inch. for the zip allowance. For this back, we don't need shoulder to waist, shoulder to bust. The shoulder I'm working with is 15 divided by 2 will give you 7.5. Take 1 inch shoulder slope, and from here I'm going to take my 8.5 for the chest line, then the waist parts. This will serve as my chest line. And the waist. For this one, the neck measurement I'll be working with is the front I took 5, so the back I'm going to take 5 again, and the back length I'll be taking 1.5 inches for the back. Okay, 1.5. Let me take 2 inches for the back, and I will connect. I'll be using a normal dart for the back. The bust measurement I'm working with is 39 divided by 2. It will give me, divide by 2 will give me 9.75, and I will take 2 inches sewing allowance. The waist measurement I'm working with is 35. When I divide it by 4, it will give me 8.5 plus 2 inches sewing allowance. From here, I'm going to take the nipple to nipple measurement I'm working with is 7.5 plus half inch sewing allowance will make it 8. When I divide it by 2, to give me 4 to serve as my darts for the back. To serve as my darts for the back. From this chest line, I'll come down by 1 inch, and on this waistline, I will take half inch on this side. I will take half inch on this side. I will connect to the chest line. This 1 inch I'm going to deduct from here. From here, I will add it to my sewing allowance, and I will connect. For the armhole, I will get the mid armhole. I'll get the midpoint that will connect. This is for my back. And then at this zip side, to avoid zip bulge at the back, from this waistline, I will come in by half inch, and I will connect it to the shoulder line. To avoid folds at the back. Now I'm going to cut. If you have any question, please ask. With this, I'll use it to cut up my fabric. I'll extend the neck to the zip allowance. With this, I'll use it and cut on my fabric. To cut on my fabric, I'm going to fold it into two. Fold it, fold it. There's no need adding allowance while cutting because I added all my allowances when I was drafting. So I don't need to add any other allowance here. It's going to be for the middle. Make sure you notch your bust points so that when you're joining, you won't find it difficult. For the padding, I'll be making use of this hard wording. For the padding, I'm going to make use of this hard wording. And what we were sewing, what we were drafting, we measured. I wouldn't want it to get to the armhole, so I'm going to measure where I want it to stop. From the bust points, I will take 5 inches. From these bust points, I will take 5 inches. Take 5 inches. This is my under bust. I'm starting from my under bust. This is my under bust. And this is my bust point. Can you see what I'm doing? From this point, I marked 5 inches. because I wouldn't want it to get to the armhole. And this is my under bust. This is my under bust. From here, I'm going to connect to get to my under bust. And from these 5 points I marked, I'm going to connect. You can use your curve, or you can use your hand. So what I have here, now connect to this place. This is my bust point. I'll cross check. Make sure you curve your hand. When I get to this bust point, I will notch it, because it's going to be easier for me when I'm joining it. Can you see what I have here? Notch your bust point so that when you are joining, you won't find it difficult to join. I'll use this pattern and cut the middle part first. And I will measure from here. I'll take 6 inches. So this is where I will stop. For the front, I took 6 inches from the shoulder line. This is where it will stop for the front. Start from the under bust. Six inches, and I'll cut. I'm going to notch my bust points. Always notch your bust points to avoid mistakes. It's very important. Now from this 6 inches, that is where I will cut from. I will join it when I join it. Now you take this part and join. Let's take it and join to this part. And what you want to sew, start from the down part. Start from the down part. You know you don't know what half an inch is when you are sewing. You cannot dictate what half an inch is when you are sewing. Just take your chalk and mark out half an inch so that it will guide you. Mark out, follow the curve. Make sure you follow the curve. As you're coming up, you can reduce your hand. As you're coming up, you can reduce your hand. After sewing, can you see what I have? Can you see how it's standing? I'm still going to press it. I'm still going to press it. I'm still going to cut the back. I'll just fold my fabric into back and cut. I'm going to open up the back. Zip allowance. From here, I will trim down. Avoid the bulge at the back. Make sure you match your zip allowance. This for the back. I repeat the dots. For the lining, the same way you cut the breast pad, that is how you're going to cut the lining. And that is the same way you're going to join. I showed you how to join. That's the same thing you're going to do here. The same with the back. Cut out the back, cut the lining. The same way you cut the back, the same way you cut the lining, and join them together. When I'm done joining the lining, I'm going to use it to turn the neckline. Use it and turn the neckline. The same with the back. After joining, I'll use the lining to turn. Front will be facing the front. Use it to turn it. To cut the down part, the wrap down, I'm going to deduct the upper part. The upper part is 17 and the full length is 59. I'm going to deduct 59, that is the full length, from the upper part, which I've cut already, 17. So what I will cut here now, 59 minus 17 will give me 42. So the down part is 42. I'll measure 42 here, plus 2 inches sewing allowance, giving me 44. I'll cut it on the lining. I use the lining to cut on the fabric. From my waist to my hip is 9 inches. 9 inches. I'll mark it out. 9 inches. The waist circumference I'm working with is 35. 35 divided by 4 will give me 8.5. Place it here. 8.5 plus 2 inches sewing allowance. And because the person I'm working with has a big tummy, that is after the waist. After her waist, she has a big tummy. And that her big tummy is 37.5. So if I divide it by 4, it will give me 9.25. So I'll come down 3 inches. I'll come down 3 inches from here, from the waistline. Then I'll measure 9.25. I'll measure 9.25 plus 2 inches sewing allowance. Plus 2 inches sewing allowance. Then the hip circumference I'm working with is 44. When I divide it by 4, it will give me 11. 11. I'll mark it here. Plus 2 inches sewing allowance. And I'll connect. For the down part, depending on how you want it to be, what I have here is 13. So at the hemline, I'm going to mark 11. What is going to be a pencil skirt. Now from here, I'll connect down to the hemline. If you still want it to be too penciled, you can still come in. So with this, I'm going to use it to cut. I will use it to cut on my main fabric. To take the dart, I'll come in by 4 inches, the nipple to nipple measurement I'm working with. Come down by 5 inches. Now this part, you take half inch, and this part, take half inch increments. With this, I'm going to use it to cut out the back, but I'll make sure I place my zip allowance. I'll fold the second part. I'm going to open up the back part. The same way I marked the dance here, that's the same way I'll mark at the back. I'll open up the back parts. First of all, notch your zip allowance. Notch your zip allowance and open it up. Now to cut on my fabric, because I'm going to fold the down part. I'm going to fold the down part. My fabric is going to be 2 inches longer than this. My fabric is going to be 2 inches longer than the lining because I'm going to use my lining to turn it inside. I've used the lining to cut out the fabric. I made the fabric 2 inches longer than this lining because I'm going to use this lining to turn the down part of this. I will show you. For my wrap, to determine where my wrap is going to start from and the length of the ruffles I'm going to cut, I will open up this skirt. I will open it up to determine where my wrap is going to start. To determine where my wrap is going to start, I want it to start above my knee, a little above my knee. From my waist to my knee is 20 inches. From my waist to my knee is 20 inches. That is where I want it to start. Then for the down part, this is 20 inches. What I have here is 23 inches. This 23 inches, you know, I'm still going to fold in like 2 inches that I will fold in. So I will remove it. When I fold it in, it won't be here again. So from my knee to the down part, I'll be taking 21. So for my ruffles, it's going to be 21. My ruffles is going to be 21 inches for my ruffles. Then it's starting from here. My ruffles is going to start from here. Then from this point, this end point, I'm going to connect. I'll connect it to this point. You see what I'm doing? I will curve it, make a curve, and I will cut it out. Then the ruffles which I measured 21 inches, when I cut it, I will attach it. It will drop down to this place. I will do it and show you. So for this place, I'm going to cut this place up. I will cut it off, but I will cut it on my fabric. This is the lining. I'll cut it on my fabric. As you can see, I've cut out the wrap. I'm going to cut out the wrap where I marked. Use it to cut out the wrap for the skirts. See what I marked? Just cut it out. We cut it out. For the wrap, to determine the length of the ruffle we are going to cut, I showed you from the length of the skirt. I told you the length of the skirt. We are cutting 21 inches. Then, to know the amount of ruffle we are going to attach here, we are going to measure from here. We'll measure. To know the amount of fabric we're going to cut for the ruffle. What I have is 33. So you can use double of it, or you can use 3 of it. That is 33 times 3, or you can do 33 times 2, depending on how full you want it to appear. But for me, I'm going to use times 3. I'll be using times 3. 33. I'll be using times 3 for the ruffles. I'm going to cut. For the ruffles I'm going to attach, I've cut it out. Now I'm going to gather it. I will gather it, then attach it here. Attach it. This is the lining I will use to cover it. I will sew it. I will sew it, and I will attach it. Let me gather the fabric. I have finished gathering the ruffles. I've finished gathering it. Now I'm going to attach it. I'm going to attach it right side, facing the right side of the fabric. Then you're going to attach. You attach from here. Sew it. Attach it. Sew it round. Attach it. The remaining parts, I will attach it here. Then after attaching, you flip it. When you flip it, the ruffles will drop. When you flip it, the ruffles will drop. Let me go and attach it round and show you. After sewing it, this is how it's going to appear. Can you see the ruffles? This is how it will appear. Can you see the ruffles? This is how it's going to appear. To tidy up this inside, to tidy up the back, this back, I'll place this lining. You see why I cut the wrap? That is the same why I cut the lining. I'm going to move this one inside. I'm going to move it inside. Push it inside. Then I'm going to attach this. Attach it. Use it and cover this place. Sew it. Use it and cover the down part. Before I flip it. After sewing it, I will flip it to the right side. Let me do it and show you. After covering it up with the lining, can you see? This one is optional. If you like, you cover it up with lining. If you like, you leave it like that. After covering it with lining, I'm going to get my belt, attach it on this side of the ruffle. I will attach it on this side of the ruffle. On this side of the ruffle, this part is going to go inside the skirt, by the side of the skirt, and this strap where I'm going to tie it, I'll put belts. For the belt, I cut out length 40 by 4. So I'm going to fold it into 2, stitch it. I'll fold it, stitch it, then turn it to the right side. I finish sewing the belt, you press it. Finish sewing the belt. Now I'm going to attach it. I'm going to attach it on this place. I will attach it here. Attach it so that I can be able to tie it. Then the second one, I will fix this side at the other part of the skirt. Then this belt will go into it. Let me fix the belt. After attaching the wrap, see what I have. This is the belt. I will attach this side on the pencil skirt. This is the inside. I use lining to cover up the inside, tidy up the inside. See how neat it is inside. Let's finish up the skirt and attach it. To sew the skirt, I'm going to put in the darts. I'm going to put in the darts. After putting the darts, I'll also put in the darts on the lining. After putting the darts, I will take this, sew it at the mouth. Take the lining facing the right side. I'm going to attach it, sew it down, sir. Sew it and show you. I finished sewing the skirt with 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to turn it. With the folding allowance I left at the down part, I'm going to use it to turn this right side. Can you see? Turn it. Use my iron, press it down. Use my iron, press it down. Then stitch the sides. See how the down part will look like. Use your iron, press it down, push it inside. See how the front side will look like. The same thing you did in the front, that is the same thing you're going to do at the back. Take your lining, mash it at the down parts, mash it at the down parts. When you finish joining the down parts, this is the front. The front, you flip it to the back. Flip it to the back, then move the 1 inch that we left here. See how it is? Move it to the back. Flip this to the back. Then iron out your 1 inch. Iron out the 1 inch. Then stitch this down at the back. See how the front will look like. This is for the back side. Because it's going to have opening at the back. Because it's going to have opening at the back, I'm going to stitch it. Use the lining, cover it up. Because it's going to have opening at the back. This side, the side of the zip, I'll mash it down. I'll mash it down. Then turn it to the right side. Before you mash it down, make sure you push this side. Push this side. push this side so that when you turn it inside, it will come out. Push it inside, then sew it down. Let me sew it and show you. After sewing the front skirt, putting my dart, I will attach my ruffles. I will place my ruffles. Place it. When I place it, I'm going to attach it to this side. This side, I will attach it to this side, then attach the other belt to this place. I will attach this to this, attach my belt to it. Let me do it and show you. After attaching it to the skirt, can you see? Can you see? This is the wrap. This is the belt. This is the wrap. This will use the belt and tie it like this. Then for this side, I'll take the back part, attach it, open up this zip allowance, attach the up to the down part. The same thing, attach the up to the down part. Let me attach and show you. After putting my darts, I'm going to join the two back together. Two back, then impute my zip. I'll impute my zip, put my zip, then stitch the down parts. Stitch the down parts. Stitch the down parts, impute to the zip. Let me do it and show you. I'm done fixing the zip. I'm done fixing the zip. I'm going to join the shoulders before joining the down parts. I'll join the shoulder, right side facing right side. Then I'm going to stitch from here to this place. Same thing with this side. Right side facing the right side. I'm going to stitch it. Stitch it straight. I'll stitch it and show you.